You can move 6,000 miles away and still never really leave because moving abroad isn't just about stepping on a plane. It's about letting go of the life you left behind. And sometimes the things that make us feel safe, the house, the stuff, the routines, even the idea that we can always go back, are exactly what's keeping us from building the life that we've moved for. And I know this because I've been there. And I've learned that there's a difference between a safety net and keeping the escape hatch open. And today we're going to talk about the invisible ties that can keep you stuck between both worlds. So grab your coffee and let's dive in. Or tea today. Also, did anybody even notice I didn't have a cup in the last video? Now, before I get into this, I want to be clear. I'm not saying you need to sell everything, cut all your ties, and move abroad. Otherwise, you're not serious. Okay, that's not realistic. People have different situations. Some people have children back home, businesses, some even have family responsibilities, and some are moving only temporarily and want the option to return. There is no right way to move abroad. But I do think there's a question worth asking yourself. Is this something I'm keeping because it supports my new life? Or am I keeping it because I'm afraid to fully commit to the new one? And those are two very different things. Now let's start with the obvious one, your house. Because when people talk about whether they should sell their home or rent out their home before they move abroad, they're usually talking about it from a financial perspective. What's the market doing? How much equity do I have? Can I make rental income? What about taxes? And those are all important questions. But there's another one that nobody really even asks. What does keeping this house really mean psychologically? Because a house isn't just an asset. A house represents security. It represents routines, your familiar neighborhood, your memories, your backup plan, the life you already know. And sometimes it's exactly what you need. But sometimes quietly, that backup plan can become your reason to not fully commit. Because deep down, a part of you knows if this doesn't work out, I could just go home. And again, nothing wrong with having options. I remember thinking, if this fails in the first 6 months, then what? And, well, I guess I'm going home with awesome memories. But there's a difference between having a safety net and constantly keeping the emergency exit open. There comes a point where you have to decide, okay, I need to make this work. There's no going back now. For me, that emergency route, that escape hatch, okay, that's what helped get me here, knowing, okay, if I'm there, I have an out. But once I got here, I needed to close that because I knew that if that stayed open, I'm taking it. The minute things get tough, peace out, I'm out of here. I needed to close that. Now, when I left Canada and I moved to Albania, I didn't come here with a house. Okay, like I didn't have a house back home. So I didn't have to deal with that. I didn't have to deal with tenants, property managers. I didn't have a mortgage waiting for me back home. My situation was much simpler. I had a car, I had some furniture, things I could sell, donate, give away. And looking back, I realized something. Having fewer things forced me to build forward. There wasn't an old version of my life waiting for me back home to come back to. I had to figure things out here. I had to create routines here. I had to build relationships here. This became home because I didn't treat it like a temporary stop, but I treated it like this is my life now. Looking back now, I wonder if I kept one foot firmly planted in Canada, would I have pushed myself as hard? Truth is, I don't think so. That emergency template, like there's been times when things got really tough. That emergency exit would have been tempting. Even now, like there's things that came up today, even which I'm sure I'll get into in future videos. But if I wasn't settled here, that emergency exit would be huge. Huge. I'm glad that I set myself up. So when things like today happened, it's okay. I can make this work here now. And that's something that you can only answer for yourself. But the house is just one example. There's so many other ways to stay connected to our old life without even realizing it. Maybe it's just keeping all your possessions in storage because you're not sure yet. Maybe it's just keeping an apartment abroad that feels temporary, even after you've been living there for years. Maybe it's refusing to learn the language because you keep telling yourself, nah, I'm not going to be here long enough. Maybe it comes in the form of just making friends with other expats because you know they're going to be leaving eventually. Maybe it's going back home for holidays instead of creating traditions here. It comes in different forms. And maybe it's constantly comparing, right? Well, back home it was like this. Oh, we didn't have to do this back home. Oh, you would never see this back home. And listen, I get it. When you first move here, that is completely normal. That's your reference point. That's what your brain has to compare to, right? Because that first year is full of firsts. Your first Christmas abroad, your first birthday abroad, the first time going through the grocery store and everything is not where you would think it would be. Like, for examples here, popcorn is with the beans, not with the snack foods. So finding where things are and categorized. The first time dealing with the bureaucratic system and how that works. So of course you're going to compare, right? I did it too. But there comes a point where you have to be honest with yourself. Maybe the problem isn't that you haven't adapted enough. Maybe the problem is this just isn't the country for you. And that's okay. And if you're going through this around month 6, 7, you're still comparing. You're still in your first year. Don't sweat it. Because sometimes comparison is just a sign that you're homesick and still adjusting, right? But also other times it's your brain telling you something more important. So if I was sitting with a client and they had been here for over a year and they were struggling and still feeling like they just got here, they haven't felt like it's home. The things I would ask them are things such as why you're still here, right? What's keeping you here? What brought you here? What are you hoping will change? Are you building a life here or are you just buying time until you go back? Because there's a difference between missing home and never really emotionally leaving home. Two different things. And after you've given it a real chance, you realize this country is not for you, it doesn't mean that you failed. I've said it before, this isn't for everyone, no matter where you are. Every country has its own personality, its own charm, and every person has their own needs. And sometimes that's not going to match. Maybe another country would fit you better. And maybe home is where you need to be. The goal isn't to prove that you can survive somewhere. The goal is to help you find where you thrive. And here's the question I think more people need to ask before they move abroad. If things get hard, what am I going to do? What's your plan? Because things will get hard. Okay? Every country has frustrating systems. Every country will have moments of, what did I do? The people who make it aren't the people who don't necessarily question their decision. They're usually the people who don't have an easy way to avoid the discomfort. They find solutions, they adapt, they build. They stop waiting for their new country to feel like their old one because it won't. And that's the point. And this is why I think choosing the country to move to is such a personal decision because there's no best country. There's only the best country for you. A place that works beautifully for one person might make someone else miserable. I remember in China, loved it there. And I had friends who were like, "Oh, do you think I could do that?" And I'm like, "You would hate it here. Don't even come visit, I'll come you. Like, you would hate it here." And even for here, there's people that I'm like, "I don't feel like this would be the best fit for you." So maybe you need beaches and warm weather. Maybe you need reliable public transportation. Maybe you need a slower pace of life. Maybe it's too fast for you. Maybe you need a fast pace of life. Maybe you need a big international community. Maybe you need a place where you could easily build friendships. The biggest mistake that you can do is choosing a place based on someone else's experience, including mine. That's why it's so important to look at the good and the bad of somewhere, not just the highlight reels, no matter where it is, right? Because a lot of people will see a YouTube video, read a blog post, see TikToks. Wow. And that could reel you in, but make sure to do your research on the place. And then, because they think, oh, wow, it worked for them, that should work for me, right? But you're not them. Your budget is different. Your needs are different. Your priorities are different. Your reasons for moving are different. You're not propelled by the same thing. And that's why before you leave, you need to ask better questions. Not just, can I afford to live there? Which, hey, that's its own thing. Definitely ask that, but don't stop there. But would I enjoy my life there? You can afford to live somewhere, but still be miserable. Does the place fit the person I'm becoming? Right? The person you are today is not going to be who you are in a year or two from now. Will this new place allow you to grow into that person that you want to be? Am I moving towards something or running from something? And this is the type of work that I do in my consulting on my website. I help people who are looking to move to Albania look beyond the highlight reel and figure out whether this country actually fits their situation. Because the hardest part of moving abroad isn't finding a country, but whether it's a good country for them. Because moving abroad is a big decision to make based on someone's vacation or a stranger's TikTok. You need to understand the reality before you make the leap. And if that's where you're at, I have consulting packages that are built for exactly this to help you before you make that leap and catch you once you do. From a simple pre move consult all the way up to a soft landing in Toronto, where I meet with you. So if you're planning a move abroad, maybe don't just ask yourself, can I afford this? Can I get the visa? Can I find an apartment? Those questions matter, absolutely. But also ask, what am I holding on to? What am I afraid to let go of? Is this helping me build my new life or helping me fully avoid starting it? Because moving abroad isn't just about changing your location, it's about deciding what parts of your old life you want to carry forward and what parts you actually need to leave behind. Because some things are anchors and some things are roots. And there's a huge difference. An anchor keeps you in the same place, but roots allow you to grow someplace new. And sometimes the hardest part of starting over isn't getting on the plane. It's actually giving yourself permission to arrive. I'll let you think about that, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.